Hey guys, Vass here from Aussie Playground, and welcome to another episode of RC Pit Stop. This is going to be part 1 of 2 of my ST4 teardown and rebuild. I've had this car now for about 2 years, give or take a little bit, and I figured it was time to give it a new lease on life. I haven't ran the car since I did the GoPro Hero 3 bash, which was almost a year ago. So the car has been sitting on the shelf for a very long time. And since then, I've actually been collecting a few little goodies to swap over on the car and upgrade it and just make it a little bit more of a beast than what it already was. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm going to quickly run you through the condition of the car. I'm going to run you through the changes that I'm going to be making on the car, give you a bit of a snippet of the teardown, and then we'll come back with part 2 later on down the line. And show you the finished product, and I'll give you an update on all the progress and the process of basically tearing this guy down and rebuilding it. So very quickly, the body here, these body posts, they fit right on these ridges of this body. This is a Bulldog body from Proline, and there are a couple of different versions of this body. You can get it without this sort of alcove on the bonnet here, which I don't think needs you to modify the body posts like I had to do. You can see here that I've actually had to shave the sides of these little washers, these little supports, to be able to fit the body posts inside here. So you can get a different design. I got this one just because I didn't know any better really, and then I had to modify my posts. Not a big deal, they hold up perfectly fine. So as you can see here, the car has had plenty of abuse. It's got plenty of use. Rear shock tower is also very badly bent. As I said, the last time I ran it was during the GoPro Hero 3 bash, and this guy took a lot of punishment. It survived, but obviously came home limping, and you know, it's time for a bit of an upgrade and an update on this car, and just give it a new lease on life, which I'm really looking forward to. So you can see here I've got some different shocks at the front. These are the RC8 2.0 shocks for the front. First modification I'm going to be doing is changing out the rear shocks, which are still stock. So I've got the RC8 0.2 shocks for the rear. Now this one here, I didn't actually get it with the springs. I believe you can get a different packet that comes with springs, but that's quite okay because I'm going to be using the stock springs out of the ST4 anyway, because I'm also using them at the front. The stock springs that came with these particular shocks were actually really soft, so I found that the stock ST4 springs actually work a lot better, and I'll be doing the same thing on the rear. So that's one mod. The next mod, of course, is going to be changing out the rear shock tower, and I've gone for carbon fiber. I know that some of you may disagree with my decision here, and I don't know how this is going to go, because obviously instead of bending, these tend to snap. So we'll see how we go. Having said that, I'm not really looking to, punish this car too much more in the future. I know that, I believe that Thunder Tiger may actually be discontinuing this car. I know that a lot of online sites have actually marked it as discontinued. They're no longer stocking it. So I think maybe Thunder Tiger may be running these out. I'm not 100% sure. You may still be able to get them though, depending on where you are in the world. So yeah, I'm gonna go for carbon fiber because I'm kind of sick of aluminium shock towers bending all the time, and we'll see. Maybe it'll hold up fine, maybe it won't. Time will tell. I will say though, this was not cheap. This was very expensive. Another thing that I want to change out on this truck is my chassis. Now you can see here that this has had a lot of abuse. It hasn't bent, and I have to say that I'm probably one of the few people out there that have an ST4, an MT4, and I've never bent my chassis. No braces have ever been used, obviously because I've still got bent shock towers, but the chassis has never bent on me. However, I am going to still swap it out and give it a new one. I got this guy from Dollar Hobbies, and these are actually fairly cheap there. I think I paid something like $15 plus shipping. I think I added a couple of other things as well just to save on to sort of split the shipping costs, and yeah, this didn't work out very expensive at all. I've seen these on eBay for as much as about $40 or $50, so to get it for about $15 I was wrapped, so I figured I'll pick one of those up. Now the electrics, I'm going to be swapping all of these out. It's still running the stock steering servo, stock motor, and stock 80 amp ESC. The servo, I have decided to go to AGT's and pick up this guy, which I think is going to be a very, very nice addition to this truck. Speed on 7.4 volt is 0.11 seconds. Torque is on 7.4 volt, 20 kilograms. Standard size and weighs about 74 grams. I'll take this guy quickly out of its little box here. You can see you get a little bit of hardware in the packet, so you get your usual, you know, servo horns, little screws, bits and pieces there. That's just a blank card, I think, just to protect it on the back. And there's the servo itself. Now this is the CYS steering servo. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's all engraved. It's very, very well built. All aluminium casing. I do believe this is waterproof, but don't quote me on it 100%. Does not say that it is or it isn't, but I think in the website it may say that. I will have links in the description for all this as well, although maybe not the shock tower, because I got this off eBay and that obviously that link's gone. It was a long time ago. So that's the servo. I've been using CYS servos in some of my 1/10 scale vehicles, and I've been really happy with these servos. I mean, if you want to try something a little different, you know, give these guys a go. They're very good. They've been holding up beautifully, very quick, very reasonably priced as well, especially for something like this. Very impressed. ESC, going for the Beast ESC. This is 150 amp, 1/8 scale. I use the 1/10 scale Beast on my Pro 2, and I've been very happy with that brushless system. So I decided to try it in a 1/8 scale. This is the 150 amp version, and let me tell you, this guy is pretty decent size. Built-in fan right there on the top. Massive wires on this thing. I mean, these are just huge wires. Can run a censored motor as well. There is a little plug here for a censored motor, so it's got a port just there. So very cool. If you have a censored motor, you can run that on this ESC as well. Did not come with a program card or anything like that, but I do believe you can get them. So that may be an option for you as well. And of course, you do need to do a bit of soldering. So if this is not your forte, maybe there will be other options for you. But soldering is not very difficult, and you can get some of the guys at the local hobby shop to help you out as well, if you don't know how to do it or you don't have the equipment to do it. Motor. Now, I've decided not to go for something that's like a huge motor. I didn't want to go overboard with this. I just want to replace the stock motor because it has 2 years of use. Several dozen battery packs have gone through this buggy, and or Truggy rather, and I just want to be able to get something else. I didn't want to go with the stock motor, so I decided to go with this guy. This is, hopefully the camera can focus in on that. This is a Leopard motor, 4074 2000 kV. Now, believe it or not, I actually won this motor from AGT's. If you jump on their website, every now and again they have little giveaways, and one time they had something where you just had to comment on one of their posts, and then they draw out a winner. And I won, and I was wrapped. I don't really win things very often, but I've had this guy in its tubular case here for over a year, believe it or not. I think it's been about 18 months since I won this guy, and I've never used it because I've never had a car to put it into. Although pretty early on after I got it, I had intentions of using it in here, but those ideas kind of swapped around several times, and finally I decided, okay, I'm just going to put it in the ST4. I know that it's not a huge upgrade from the stock motor. If anything, these are probably identical as far as power output, but having the bigger ESC, being able to run 6S, I think it's going to be ample for this car. Given the the power that it is and the weight that it is, I think it'll be fine. I don't need to go too crazy with it. So there's that. We also need a new body as well. This is a body that I painted up at the same time that I painted this one. I think somebody on one of the comments actually nicknamed it Spider-Man body because I have put a bit of a spider on the back here. This body was done after watching a few Storm videos and how he does his masking, and I decided, okay, I'm going to experiment and try a few different things, and yeah, this is the end result. So it didn't turn out too bad. It actually looks pretty good. So this is the body that's going to go on here. I can use it with the black spoiler, but I also have a brand new white rear spoiler, so I'll be putting that on the back there, and I'm going to continue using the Badlands, which is the tires that I used, that I upgraded to on this buggy a while ago. So I'm going to continue using these guys, just give them a clean and they'll be good to go. So there we go, guys. That's everything that's going to go on this buggy, or Truggy. I keep calling it a buggy for some reason. So that's everything that's going to go on here. I'm going to get to work now. I'm going to start tearing this guy down. I'm going to be putting oil in the diffs because I've never serviced any of the diffs. And it's just going to be a very interesting experience, finally getting to crack open so much of this car that's never been touched. It's all 100% stock as far as the drivetrain is considered, with the exception of a bigger pinion gear that I've got in there. So yeah, let's get to work, and I'll come back very quickly and show you a bit of an update on the progress so far. Alright, so this is what I've done so far. I've pulled out the entire front end of the ST4. I basically disassembled this whole section of the car, pulled apart the diff that's inside, which was filled with grease. I cleaned it all out and put a 100,000 weight diff oil in the front, reassembled everything, gave everything a nice big clean. I did notice a couple of things that I hadn't picked up, which I'm probably going to have to replace very, very soon. And that's going to be my lower A-arms. You may be able to see on this one here, hopefully if the camera will focus in on that, you can see just there that this one is actually quite damaged on this side. It's still holding on. This one is also a little bit bent, just over time and pressure of landing and jumping this thing. Both my lower A-arms are a little bit twisted. They're not 100%. So I'm probably going to have to order some new ones of these and replace them very, very shortly. Another thing that I noticed as I was pulling everything apart is that my spur gear, and I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but my spur gear has actually got a fair amount of wear in it. I do remember one time my motor came loose and I kind of chewed up the teeth a little bit. It's still usable, I can still use it, but I am going to have to get another one. Now I just jumped on online to try and see if I could find one, and the bad news is they're not due until the end of November, so that's probably something that I'll have to do at a later stage. But as I said, it is still usable. Now the way that I've decided to do this, as you can see, you know, I've done the front section. I'm now going to move on to the middle section. I'm going to pull apart all the electronics, pull apart the center diff as well, and fill that with 500,000 weight diff oil, and then I'll move on to the rear section and do that part last. I was originally just going to strip everything straight out of the chassis and do it all at once, but I decided to do it this way because it kind of saves me from losing screws or using the wrong screws in the wrong spot. I do one section at a time, and as I go along, I mount everything onto the new chassis, which should you know, make life a lot easier for me. And it kind of helps me assess the whole situation of the car as well. So that's pretty much what's been happening so far. I'm going to very quickly just move this out of the way, and I'll start basically pulling all of this apart, which should be interesting to say the least. I'm hoping I got the right gear here. So, you know, this has been an excellent car, can I say. I mean, I've had this for a very long time, you know, going on 2 years, and at one point I actually did think of selling it. I thought, no, I might just move it on and maybe get something else. But I enjoy driving this car way too much. It's been a very solid RC. It certainly has its little flaws, as a lot of RCs do, but it's been very solid, and I've been very happy with it. So I'm going to hang on to it for as long as I can, and yeah, just maintain it and keep looking after it. But as I said at the start of the video, I'm not planning on really punishing this car too much from here on out. I'm still going to use it, but it's just not going to be something that I want to put through a hard life, because it requires a lot of maintenance for something like this, especially when you punish it as much as I have. Okay, so I'm just removing the center diff here, and one of the things I noticed with these diffs was the same thing at the front diff, is that these outdrive cups or outdrive yokes actually connect through inside the diff, very much like the Vitara Helix that I recently redid diffs on. So you basically have to pull apart the entire diff to get these yokes out, these outdrive cups. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can crack this guy open. Actually, before I do that, I'll just give it a bit of a wipe, because it is quite filthy. So all pretty clean now, so now I can start pulling this off. Okay, so just about to crack open this diff now, and getting rid of these last couple of screws, and I'll be able to show you just how these are inside. I mean, this is a diff that's never been opened before. Let's have a look, see. So you can see this is the center diff, and there's really not much going on in there. So that kind of explains why I had so much power bleeding to my front wheels. So now it looks pretty clean. I don't think I'm really going to worry too much about this one. There's not much in there. The front one had a whole bunch of grease in there, but this one I think I may just pour my my oil straight in. I know that some of you may disagree with that, but there's really not a lot going on in here for me to warrant a complete clean out. So I'm going to put some oil in here. This oil is very difficult to squeeze out. It's very, very thick. So now that I've got a little bit of oil in there, I'm just sort of turning the gears ever so slightly to get the oil to move down to the bottom of the diff, and that'll give me an indication of how much more I can actually put in there. So I'm just working that in very slowly, and looks like I need a whole heap more. Okay, so that's looking just about right now. I got plenty of oil in there. It's really hard to move the gears as well. Every time I move them, they kind of raise up, which means that it's telling me that the oil is hit all the way to the bottom. So now I just need to line this guy up and pop that back on like so. And then just put my screws back in, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so once I have my screws kind of in position like so, this is when I actually start to torque them. So give that one a bit of a half a turn, go across, get to that one, go up here, and then down here. This one needed a little bit more. Back up here again. All right, my diff is now fully assembled. A little bit hard to move in there, but that is exactly what we wanted. We wanted a much more solid diff in the middle. Of course, I will have to swap out this spur gear at a later stage, but I'll deal with it for now. So that one can be put aside. I now need to take out, if I can get this cut, here we go. I can now unplug my motor, get rid of this guy. We need to take the motor mount off, as well as the pinion. The pinion actually needs to come out first. So I was running a 16 tooth pinion, and it works beautifully on this car. I can probably even go to 17 tooth if I want to, because the motor never really got extremely hot. Oh, geez. That is really tight. Okay. I had some Loctite in these screws to stop the motor from sliding out again like it did the first time. That's why these were a little bit tricky to get off. There we are, motor mount is off. Motor can now go into storage. I've got some other plans for this motor. Hopefully later on down the line I'll use this guy somewhere else, but you can see it's been scuffed plenty. I believe it had a dent somewhere. It's got a dent out here at the back for some reason. I don't know how that happened. But it's still okay. I mean, it's still usable, of course. Now I've got to sort out all of these switches here. See if I can get this out of the way. There we go. That's out. And get rid of my antenna tube. I don't need that there. That can go there. The ESC seems to be pretty well stuck in there. Let me see if I can get her out. I've always wondered why Thunder Tiger only gave this car an 80 amp ESC when it's deserving of so much more. The MT4 had 150 amp and this one could only run on 4S. Not that it was, you know, slow or anything, but I always felt that this car, for some reason, always got the short end of that deal. Definitely could have used, well, okay. Definitely could have used the 150 amp and it could have handled it just fine. I need to clear that off. I'll get that out later on. Alright, so very quickly, no, that's not the right key. Let's see if I have one here. That is the right one. It's probably a 1.5 millimeter. Yes, it is. Okay. Get rid of this. I'm only taking off this cover too, just so I can clean this whole chassis up and just, you know, make sure that it's all nice for the rebuild. So we'll get rid of this, pop that in there, I guess. This is actually a CVD, so that's a captured bone, so I'll have to, all right. See if I can get rid of this plate just quickly. So there are 6 screws, it seems, holding this to the actual chassis. So I've got to get rid of these tiny little screws. And that should pretty much get this guy off. Here now I still got to take out these 2. Now everything comes off. Here we go. Wow. There's a bit of dirt under there, so I'm going to have to clean this up. So all of that's going to have to get cleaned up, get rid of all this. And then we'll come back with the next episode and I'm going to start on the rear, disassembling that, pulling all of that apart and put Humpty Dumpty all back together again, fit the electronics in. And yeah, we should be good to go in a very short amount of time. So that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for the next episode of my ST4 rebuild. Appreciate you guys watching. Please hit the like button before you go. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the video description for more information on this car, as well as a link to my Facebook page. Thanks again, guys, and I'll speak to you next time.